1, 2, 3. All right, it should be working fine now. Everything should be working fine now, guys. You can let me know in the chat box if you are able to hear the audio. Okay, perfect. Apologies for the delay. I had to just change a few settings. Okay, perfect. So first of all, I would like to welcome all of you to the live stream, and apologies for starting the live stream a little bit earlier than our usual time. The reason for this was because I'm moving out of my apartment, so I had to do some shifting. But yeah, from the next week, live stream it's going to be at the same time, 2 p.m. 3 p.m. GMT +1. First of all, if you are new to the channel and if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please make sure to do so. Please make sure to press the notification icon as well, so that you are notified as soon as we upload any video or we start our live streams. Also, if you are not following me over Twitter, I regularly share my updates, analysis, and everything over my Twitter account. And you can follow me over Twitter. And if you would like to have a little bit more organized feed, then you can simply just join the Discord server. The link is going to be down below in the description of this video, of this live stream. And you can also click on this pinned tweet right here. And you can click the link in this pinned tweet and you would be able to join the Discord server. And as you can see in the pinned tweet as well, we have a 1K to 5K challenge going on. You can be a part of that challenge as well. All you would have to do is simply just join the Discord server and open up a support ticket, and support staff would be assisting you. All right, so let's start this live stream. It's going to be a relatively short one in comparison to the previous ones, because we will quickly be looking at Bitcoin. Nothing much to update, to be very honest. The last time I did the live stream, it was back on, I guess, Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah. So when we had FOMC and when we had all this important data coming out. Nothing much has changed, to be honest, at this point. Although price seems to be moving towards the upside, I would be explaining that part as well. But just to refresh your memories, we have a major swing low sitting at $52,500 region. We have a major swing high sitting at $65,000 region. So it's a good news for people who are bullish. It's a good news for people who took their long positions, because we are sitting extremely close to the invalidation point for any bearish bias, which means that this is a major swing high. And mind you, somebody did ask me a question like a few hours ago, that if price breaks and closes above $65,200 region, would it be the first time that a change of character is not followed by break of structure? Right? You are absolutely right. This would probably be the first time in the past, 1 year or so, that on the Bitcoin chart, that a change of character is not followed by the break of structure. Like for example, a change of character happened as soon as price broke and closed below $56,000 region. So my original anticipation was that ultimately we would go down below. We had every chance, like if you would draw Fibonacci retracement levels from this swing high to this swing low, you would notice that there was every possibility for price to pump up to $61,000, $62,300 region, even $63,500 region as well, because this is 88.60 Fibonacci level region. And we have seen in the past as well that most of the rejections, they're always happening around 88.6% Fibonacci level. This is the first thing. So there was every possibility. I have been mentioning this for the past, from the past like 3 to 4 weeks, that there is every possibility that price would go up to $61,000, $62,000, $63,000 range. But the important part here is that the invalidation point, it's at $65,200 region, which means that if any 4-hour candle closes above $65,200 region, then we would have to flip our bias towards bullish. We are still taking a few long positions, but we would have to completely flip our bias towards bullish. And we can say that, okay, there is now a possibility that price can move up towards 67K or even 69K or 70K as well. The reason why I'm saying about the reason why I'm mentioning 67K, I would be explaining that part later. But first of all, let's focus on this part right here. So in terms of structure, it's very much clear that in terms of external structure, I should be saying, it's very much clear that, we have a major swing low sitting somewhere around here and we have a major swing high sitting somewhere around here. Although So far, we have failed to close a 4-hour candle above $65,000 region. Price still seems to be struggling to claim this level right here, because this is a very important resistance level. You can clearly see that in the past, we had the rejections, then we came back up, we had the bounce, we had the second bounce, then we had a smaller bounce, price came back below this level, then came back up, still struggled to reclaim this level, formed two equal highs sitting around here, then once again came back up, had first rejection, second rejection, finally tried to break above. This was a smaller deviation move, and usually whenever you have these kind of deviation moves, what exactly you do is that you would try to build a short position at this area somewhere around here. You would try to build a short position somewhere around here. You would try to place your stops above this high, and then you can simply just target the next regions, right? This is how you would usually play a deviation move. Just to give you guys an example of this, let's suppose that you have a resistance area sitting somewhere around here, and price is hitting into this resistance area over and over again. Ultimately, what happens is that at some point in time, price would slightly deviate above this resistance area or above this level, and then it would fall back immediately down below this level. Then it would come back, give a retest, and remember that this retest, it's a very good opportunity usually to build a short position, placing your stops above the highs and then targeting the new regions ahead. Okay, but in this case, I would usually avoid doing this. The reason why I would actually avoid doing this is, although the external structure is still bearish, but we are in a sort of sandwiched situation. This is the term that I invented myself. Sandwich situation is a region in which or is a situation in which price is actually compressed between two levels. So you can clearly see that we have a support area sitting somewhere around here. Although this was not originally a very strong support, but price seems to be bouncing off this area, right? The actual support is lying somewhere around $61,500 region. We have not given a retest of this level, and I would explain to you why we have not so far retested $61,500 region. This is a very important thing. But first of all, let's just try to understand what exactly is happening as of now. The reason why I'm recommending to most of the people to try not to build any position on Bitcoin as of now is because that, let's suppose that the external structure is bearish. You say that, okay, the external structure is still bearish, and since the invalidation point is extremely close, you see, whenever we are about to build any short or long positions, we try to enter at the situations, or we try to enter at the regions where the invalidation point is extremely close. Let's suppose that if you wanted to take a short position somewhere around here, and you wanted to place your stop right above the invalidation point, okay, you would have a slightly wider stop loss. But at the same time, this position right here, it may sound like a little bit less risky, because it may sound like a little bit more risky, because in this case you have a very tight stop loss compared to this one, because in this case you had a much wider room of playing out with the price. But in this situation, you have slightly less room, you have a very tight stop loss, but at the same time, even let's suppose you're targeting this support area around here. Let me just change it to support. 1 second, I have not updated my chart. Okay, so let's suppose that you're targeting the same region around $58,000. Now, in this case, although the stop loss, it is extremely tight, but at the same time, you have a much better risk to reward ratio, because the invalidation point, or you are entering at a region which is extremely close to the invalidation point. So, the chances of winning in this setup, they might be slightly reduced, but at the same time, you have a much better risk to reward ratio, which means that you can even risk more. So, but the reason why I would still recommend not taking any position, or not recommend building any position as of now, is because we are in a sandwich situation. Because this is the support area, this is the resistance area. Even if you are trying to build a long position somewhere around here, that immediately right above you, there is a resistance area present around here. Even if you're trying to build a short position around here, you would know that, okay, there is an immediate support present around here. And price is not just bouncing off this support region, it's not just horizontal support. I should actually be saying that price is literally just, if I just turn off the rest of these indicators, you would notice that price is actually bouncing off this 4-hour 12 period exponential moving average. Like you can clearly see that you had the first bounce, you had the second bounce, third, fourth, multiple bounces. So, if we need to flip a bias, first of all, the first thing that we need to see happening, if we need to build any short positions, the first thing, we would like to see happening is price breaking below, or price losing this 4-hour 12 period exponential moving average. This is first thing, because as soon as you would apply this indicator, as soon as you would apply this moving average on your chart, you would clearly see that, or you would clearly notice that price has been not able to break below this exponential moving average. You can clearly see this thing somewhere around here, in terms of this horizontal support area present as well. Now, since we are once again in a sandwich sort of situation, in which we have a resistance area right somewhere around in this region, and then we have a support area present somewhere around here. So that's why I'm saying that it's not going to be a very wise idea to build any longer short position as of now. Now, let's suppose that you say, you would say that, okay, let's ignore, the rest of all of these things. Let's just only try to focus on the structure part. Then you would agree with me over this thing that although the external structure it's bearish, I would not go into the details of that, because you can clearly see that the change of character happened somewhere around $56,000 region, and the break of structure would only happen as soon as price would break below $52,500 region. But once again, if you're trying to build any short position, you cannot do so. The reason for this is because if you would look at the internal structure, you can clearly see that the internal structure, it's very much bullish and it has been very well preserved. For example, you can see that you have impulsive wave, corrective wave. You have impulsive wave, corrective wave. You have impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, another impulsive wave, corrective wave, and another impulsive wave. And this one is happening to be the corrective wave. Okay. You wouldn't really have to do much in terms of identifying the structure. What you can do is that you can simply just find out these major swing lows and major swing highs. You would take out your Fibonacci retracement tool, draw Fibonacci retracement from the start of the impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave. Try to build a long position. Since the structure is bullish somewhere around 65 or 70.5% Fibonacci level, you can clearly see that price seems to be reacting around those levels. So, I would say that one, advantage for the bulls is that the internal structure, it's very much bullish. The internal structure, it's very much well preserved, which means that, you should not try to build any short position until and unless first thing, price starts losing this 12 period exponential moving average on the 4-hour time frame chart. And by losing, I mean to say not wicks below that level, but price starts closing below 12 period exponential moving average on the 4-hour time frame chart. Usually it's not a very strong indicator. It is, but on the daily time frame chart, but price seems to be very well bouncing off this level, right? The second thing you would like to see happening is price breaking below this level right here, where we have actually two equal lows sitting somewhere around $62,400, $62,500 region. Now, this move towards the upside, it was very much expected. It was very much, explainable as well. The reason for this was because, if you know the simple man theory, you would see the equal lows present on the chart. You would try to build a long position. You would see the equal highs present on the chart. You would try to build a short position. So you had two equal highs sitting somewhere around here. So this move towards the upside, you would have easily caught this move. Okay, this is first thing. But we also know that, whenever you have equal highs or equal lows on the chart, a lot many people who are building the long or short positions. For example, we have two equal highs sitting somewhere around here on this chart. Since this is Binance US chart, so they are not looking like two equal highs. But if you would open up the actual Binance chart, Binance spot chart or Binance perpetual futures chart, you would notice that there are two very beautiful equal highs sitting somewhere around it. And that's why, these regions, they become a very easy target. Okay. We know that, whenever you would have equal highs and equal lows sitting somewhere around, somewhat like this on the chart, a lot many people, they would try to build their short positions at equal highs, and a lot many people, they would try to build the long positions at equal lows, which means that there are going to be a significant number of or significant amount of sell stops placed down below these lows, and there are going to be a significant number of buy stops placed right above these highs, which means that if at any point, price would usually, and that's a very popular concept as well, that price would usually go back towards these regions and would try to take the liquidity or would try to take the sell stops or buy stops placed above these highs and lows. And this is what, usually might be about to happen. The price is now, going to target the, the stops placed above these highs, because this was always a very easy target. But remember that we are sitting very close to the invalidation point. If at any moment price breaks and closes above $65,200 region, closes a 4-hour candle above these highs, then the whole market structure on the 4-hour time frame chart, it would once again be bullish, and it would be first instance. That's going to be the first instance during the past, like, almost 10 to 12 months on the Bitcoin chart that the change of character is not followed by one break of structure. But if you guys have been following a series of all these updates, you would remember a live stream that I possibly did almost like 2 to 3 weeks ago, in which I explained a confusion part as well, in which I explained a confusing part as well. Although I was very much bearish when price was moving towards 61,000, 62,000, but I did explain the most confusing part as well. I would move on to that part, towards the end of the live stream. But another important thing as of now is that one possibility could be that price would simply just wick above these highs, and we know that all those people who have their short positions at these highs, they would have their stops placed right above these highs, right? So one possibility is that price may not close above $65,000 region. It would simply just wick above this area, would take out all of these cells, would take out all of these buy stops, and then it would start falling back down. The reason we say this, and if price only wicks above $65,000 region, then the market structure shift is not going to happen, right? The market structure shift, if you remember my statement, would only happen if price not only breaks above or breaks below a certain region, but also closes above or below that certain area. In this case, if price only wicks above or below a certain area, that would only be considered as a liquidity grab. Similar is the case right here as well. The invalidation point for the internal structure, this is your major swing high, and this is your major swing low. So if price breaks and closes above $64,670 region on the 4-hour time frame chart, then internal structure would once again give you another break of structure, would give you another indication that okay, market is going to continue in its original direction. But if we break and close below this level, $62,300 region on the 4-hour time frame chart, we not only wick below, but we also close a 4-hour candle below these lows. Then the market structure finally on the 4-hour time frame chart, the internal market structure on the 4-hour time frame chart would once again be bearish, because we can clearly see that ever since we started moving upside from $52,000 region, you can clearly see that you have impulsive corrective. So the whole market structure on the 4-hour time frame chart, it's perfectly based upon higher highs and higher lows, and this would be the first time then the the market would be printing not a higher low, but actually a lower low and a lower high. Okay, we shall see what happens exactly, but it would be interesting if price breaks and closes below this low area right here, because not only we will be seeing a change in internal structure, we will be seeing a shift in internal structure, but we would also be witnessing a break and close below 12 period exponential moving average of the 4-hour time frame chart, which price seems to be bouncing off very well, right? Almost like 45 to 50 people are watching the live stream. Please make sure to like the live stream. It's not going to cost much. All you have to do is simply just press the like button, and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Okay, so the last thing I would like to mention in terms of this chart is this trend line right here. Okay, so you can clearly see that price had the first bounce of this trend line, we had the second smaller bounce, then we had this third smaller bounce, and we know that as soon as we have at least 3 bounces or 3 rejections of a trend line, the authenticity of that trend line is further confirmed, which means that this trend line, it's turning out to be a very dangerous one. The reason why I say this over and over again, whenever we have these kind of trend lines in formation, price would usually break very impulsively below these trend lines. We have not seen another retest of this trend line during the last 5 to 6 days, but in my opinion, one possibility could be that price would wick above these 2 equal highs. Price would simply just take out the stops placed above these 2 equal highs, then come back to retest this trend line, and we can actually see a break below this trend line. But if price closes above these 2 highs, then the situation, it's going to look like an altogether different one, right? So all those people who will be seeing all those, the reason why I say that price may impulsively break below this trend line is because all those people who would be looking at this trend line, they would be building their long positions because they are immature, they are beginners. They would be taking their long positions, they would be placing their stops down below these lows, or below these lows, or below these lows, or below these lows, which means that once again, there are going to be a significant number of significant quantity of sell stops placed down below these lows, which means that eventually price would break below this trend line. It would start taking out all of these sell stops placed down below these lows, and this is going to be a very impulsive break below the trend line, right? We actually saw a break of trend line back on Friday, but since back on Thursday or Wednesday, but since there was FOMC, such few important events going on, so yeah, we did not see a bigger reaction happening on the trend line. But I'm very much confident that, and remember this thing, even if price closes a 4-hour candle above $65,200 region, yes, this major swing high, it would automatically be changed into a change of character region, right? But at the same time, you would have a much wider range to play. Like you would once again have a major swing low sitting somewhere around here, and then you would have a major swing high sitting maybe somewhere around 66,000, 67,000, which means that there is going to be every possibility for price to, move in between this range. But let's just forget about that part. Let's move on to the confusing part. What was the confusion that I discussed almost like 2 to 3 weeks ago during my live stream? Okay, although I was absolutely bearish, saying that, okay, the external market structure on the Bitcoin chart, it looks absolutely bearish, and every change of character is almost always followed by at least one break of structure. And if that is true, price should eventually go down below, break and close the 4-hour candle below $52,000 region. Now, but while I was mentioning this thing, I was absolutely confused as well looking at the USDT dominance chart, because I mentioned that at that time that, the USDT dominance chart, for those of you who don't know, it's a chart that's inversely or negatively correlated with the Bitcoin chart, which means that if the price on the Bitcoin chart goes up, the price on the USDT dominance chart, it would go down. But the confusing part was that, and mind you, both of these charts, they're usually in perfect sync with each other. And if you would go and watch some of my previous live streams, I have clearly mentioned that, during the past 2 to 3 weeks, ever since the dump happened back on 5th of August, down to the one that happened down below to $52,000 region, these two charts, they are not really perfectly in sync with each other. Now, the reason why I say this is because, on the Bitcoin chart, the change of character happened back on 8th of August, right? But on this chart right here, the change of character did not happen till 23rd of August, Since these two charts, they are perfectly in sync with each other, in order to put this in the simplest possible terms, the Bitcoin chart, it's still very much bearish, right? The change of character has happened, the break of structure should be happening. But this chart right here, it's giving you an altogether different opinion. This chart right here is also bearish, right? What should have happened is that, the Bitcoin chart, as soon as it turned bearish, the USDT dominance chart, it should have turned bullish, right? But exactly the opposite thing is happening. Both of these charts, they are bearish at this moment. And if you guys would go and watch some of my previous live streams, you would hear me talking about this confusing part that although looking at the Bitcoin chart, we can clearly say that, okay, the external structure, it looks bearish. Price should eventually move down below $52,000 region. But as soon as you would open up the USDT dominance chart, you would see the very same thing happening. You would say that this chart is also bearish, which means that, this chart should have turned towards a bullish move, but that has not happened as of now, which means that, and mind you, I'm giving the same amount of weightage to both of these charts. Although the Bitcoin chart, it's a direct relation, right? But at the same time, the USDT dominance chart, since it's almost always in perfect sync with the Bitcoin chart, so you would have to give the same amount of weightage to the USDT dominance chart as well, which means that if Bitcoin chart is telling you one part of the story, the USDT dominance chart, if it's telling you an altogether different part of the story, then you need to be a little bit concerned about that. And once again, on the Bitcoin chart, the market structure, the external market structure, it's very much bearish. And similar is the case with the USDT dominance chart also, the external market structure, it's very much bearish, which is the ultimate confusing part. For example, if you would have looked at the USDT dominance, if you would have looked at the Bitcoin chart, you would have said that, okay, let's take a short trade. But if you would have looked at the USDT dominance chart, you would have said that, okay, let's take a long trade at the Bitcoin chart because this chart is looking bearish. I don't know what exactly is happening. Nothing is going to be clear until and unless price breaks and closes above a major swing high or below a major swing low, right? Either on the Bitcoin chart, you have a major swing low sitting around $52,500 region. You have a major swing high sitting at $65,200 region. And on the USDT dominance chart, you have major swing low sitting somewhere around 5.24%. And you have a major swing high sitting at 6.75%. And the reason all of this confusion happened was because we had such a bigger range to play, right? You can clearly see that this is the range that we are talking about. You have a major swing high, you have a major swing low, and you had the range between 52,000 and 65,000. So anything could have happened between these two regions. But in any case, the internal structure, if we focus directly on this chart right here, it's very much bearish as of now, but it's sitting very close to the invalidation point, and it seems like that price would ultimately break and close above $65,200 region, and it would move on towards $67,000 region. The reason why I'm mentioning 67,000 is because of this chart right here. Okay, so because of this bullish flag pattern, you can clearly see that there have been almost too many instances, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth one, that price always had a rejection of this upper boundary of the channel. Now, the reason why I say this situation could be slightly different, or price could move on towards the upper boundary of this channel at $67,000 region. And I was raising the same concern during some of my previous live streams also. Now, if you would look at all of these previous moves, like for example, let's talk about this move right here. You had the start of impulsive move, you had the end of the impulsive move, right? So you can draw the Fibonacci retracement levels, and you would notice that the rejection happened somewhere around 88.6% fib level, and price perfectly got rejected off this upper boundary of the channel. Now let's focus on this move right here. Once again, price had a perfect rejection around 88.6% Fibonacci level, and not only this was a rejection around 88.6% Fibonacci retracement level, but also this was a rejection around the upper boundary of this channel right here. Once again, if you would focus at these two points, this major swing high, this major swing low, you would notice that once again price had a perfect rejection around 88.6% Fibonacci level, and not only this was a rejection around 88.6% fib level, but we also had a rejection at the upper boundary of this channel. Once again, let's focus on this part right here. What exactly was the confusing part around here? The confusing part with this move was that the rejection only happened around 70.5% fib level. It did not happen at 88.6% Fibonacci level, okay? Which somehow hinted that this was an unfinished move. And secondly, the rejection did not happen at the upper boundary of the channel. It happened somewhere in the middle of this boundary, somewhere in the upper portion of this channel right here, which meant that this was an unfinished move. And that's why I'm saying that there is every possibility that price could simply just complete this move and go up to the upper boundary of this channel. And secondly, if you would look at all of these previous moves, this low right here, it was a lower low, compared to this one. This was a lower low compared to this one. This one was a lower low compared to this one, but this was actually a higher low if you would compare it to this one, which means that once again, we are still very much in the very same move, which means that, if you would look at all of these things from a slightly different perspective, this is still your major swing high on the higher time frame charts. This is still your major swing low. And all you have to do is once again draw your Fibonacci level from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave, and expect the price to go up to 67,000, because all the previous rejections, they always happened at 88.6% fib level. And since price was not able to break below this low area right here, the previous low, price was not able to print a lower low. So we can clearly say that we have an option to say that this is simply just an internal structure information on the daily time frame chart, which means that price would now eventually go up to 88.6% fib level, would not only retest at 88.6% fib level, but would also have a rejection at the upper boundary of this channel, and then it would ultimately go down below this low area right here. Okay, this is the anticipation if you would look at the this channel right here. But all in all, I would say that this chart, it's giving you a slightly different opinion and altogether different opinion, but at the same time it seems like a correct one as well, because historically speaking, all previous rejections happened at 88.6% fib level. All previous rejections, they happened at upper boundary of the channel, right? This one, that did not happen. So, it can simply just be considered as an unfinished move. Now, the reason why we say this, you need to pay attention to this part, is because, if you would look at all the previous rejection, the rejection happened around here. And as soon as the rejection happened, price had a break below the previous low. As soon as this rejection happened, price had a break below the previous low. As soon as this rejection happened, price had a break below this low. But this rejection did not give you a break below the previous low. Anything that's happening was happening once again in between this major swing high and this major swing low, which means that this could simply just be termed as an internal structure, specifically if you would look at higher time frame like the weekly time frame chart. You can clearly see that on the weekly time frame chart, this still is a major swing high, this still is a major swing low, and this move right here is simply just happening somewhere in the middle of the trend, which means that price has a fair opportunity to go up to 67,000 and have a bigger rejection around $67,000 region, and then it would ultimately go down below. Or we might see a possible break above this channel right here, because we have already seen almost like 4, 5, 6, 7 rejections at the upper and the lower boundary of this channel, which means that ultimately price has to either break above this channel or break below this channel. It could be happening very soon. We cannot say anything about it, but yeah, the only way that we can do is by looking at the lower time frame chart, right? But as of now, this is my opinion about the Bitcoin chart. Now, let me just quickly take the questions. And once again, almost 50 people are watching the live stream. And I'm a little bit surprised as well, because I did not share this live stream over my Twitter account, the link, etc. I did not share it over my Twitter account, but still we have managed to get a decent amount of people watching the live stream, which means that I guess this time is a little bit more suitable for you guys to watch the live stream. What time zone are you all from? And by the way, for all of you who are watching the live stream, I would really appreciate once again if you're able to just press the like button. Consistent rejections. Yes, exactly, that's the case. We have seen almost very consistent rejections at the upper boundary of this channel, especially. Even at the lower boundary of this channel, we have not seen any candle close below the lower boundary of the channel on the daily time frame chart. We had the first bounce, we had the second bounce, we had third, fourth bounces, we had this bounce right here, then we had another bounce right here. Now, if you would look at this move right here, it was a very good opportunity, because once again, the invalidation point was extremely close. Price had wicked at $52,000 region. It was a very good opportunity for you to build a long position, because price had only wicked at this lower boundary of the channel, right? And at the same time, you would have simply just taken a long position at the lower boundary of this channel, and you would have started as soon, let's suppose that price had started to simply just close a daily candle below the lower boundaries of the channel, then you would have to simply just cut your position. But since it did not, you could have simply just taken this long position. So, that's how you usually try to build your positions, where the invalidation point is extremely close. Even in this case right here, you have the opportunity, or you have the chance to take a short position. And what would be the invalidation point? You would start closing that position as soon as you would see price closing a daily candle above this channel right here. Obviously, it's not going to happen immediately, but if price starts, if you would look at all of these previous moves, we had the first rejection, second rejection, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. In all of the previous cases, we did not have any complete candle close above the upper boundary of the channel, or even the lower boundary of the channel. So, you have the opportunity to build a short position at $67,000 region. Should we wait for the price rejection at the channel high range and then add into our bags accordingly? Yes, if you have any spot bags, then this is what you can do. If you are trying to build a short position, since you will be looking at the daily time frame chart, first thing you would wish to see is a complete rejection at the upper boundary of the channel. Then you would move on to the smaller time frame, like the 4-hour time frame chart, and then you would wait to see a structure shift, because the internal structure, as you can clearly see, that it has been very much well preserved. So if price breaks and closes above $65,000 region, then there is every possibility that the internal structure is going to be the same, right? The internal structure is not going to change very much, and we would have the very same internal structure till price reaches up to $67,000 region. So it's going to look something like this, okay? On the 4-hour time frame chart, you already have a move like this. So by the time price gets to $67,000 region, it's going to look something like this, right? You would have a rejection at 67,000, then you would have a break and close below if price has to, turn the course. If price has to simply just move towards the lower boundary of the channel, then you would see a structure shift on the 4-hour time frame chart. Then you would see once again a move towards the upside, then once again another break of structure. And that's when you can start building your short position, placing your stops above this high right here, and then you can start targeting the lower boundary of the channel. Whenever price hits the lower boundary of the channel, you can simply just close your short position and you can start building your long position. As a phenomenal theory, October was bullish historically, only 8 days to complete September. Yes, but historically speaking, September was also considered bearish. There are still 8 days for the monthly candle to close. Anything could be happening. This is crypto, right? We could simply just dump in one day. But historically speaking, September was considered a very bearish month. So yeah, you cannot really predict all of these things by looking at the historical data. Yes, they provide you a good enough, reasoning. But at the very same time, I'm always telling people that that's not really how the laws of statistics they actually work. If you have to, make any such prediction, if you have to make any such forecast, you need to have enough number of data points. You need to have enough number of data points in your data set. For example, if you would do the coin toss, keeping all the rest of the variables constant. Like for example, if you're doing the coin toss on every single Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and the pressure is constant, the temperature is constant, you're keeping all the other variables absolutely constant. And you are doing the coin toss in the very same conditions on every Monday at the very same time. And you would do the coin toss, let's suppose 10 times. And out of those 10 times, 8 times, let's suppose the result is heads. Now, based upon that, you cannot really say that, the next time you would do the coin toss on Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, keeping all the other variables constant, there is 80% probability that the result is going to be heads. Just because the experiment that you did 8 times the result was heads. No, you cannot really do that. The reason for this is because you do not have enough number of data points in your data set. Okay, so similar is the case with these historical predictions as well. Since we do not have any huge number of data points, we do not have a big enough data set, so we cannot just say that we cannot simply just make such predictions, right? I hope this makes sense. Why did the change of character not happen on 15th of August? I simply don't have any answer to this. It's just right there in front of you in the chart. The change of character. Okay, so if you are, one second, I guess you are asking something else. Okay, so possibly you are asking about this move right here, right? So the original major swing low, it was at $56,000 region, right? So the change of character should have happened as soon as price on. No, there is. I don't know why exactly are you mentioning 15th of August, but one possibility was that the change of character could have happened on 4th of September, but it did not happen. The reason for this was because price only wicked below this low. You can clearly see this thing, that this was a major swing low. Price only wicked below this low and then quickly went back up. Okay, so no idea, what exactly do you mean by 15th of August? This was a low that was established on 15th of August. And, at that time, this was your major swing high. This was your major swing low. Okay. So this was simply just the end of the corrective wave. There is no way that a change of character could have happened on 15th of August. What about liquidity on major swing long? I think like there are tons of short orders placed around 67,000, 68,000. Wouldn't it indicate swinging to 72K area? Nope, $67,000, $68,000 region. It's a very strong resistance area, not just in terms of 88.6% Fibonacci level, but also in terms of the upper boundary of the channel as well. So, we are definitely not going to blindly take a short position at $67,000 region. We would still wait for the internal structure to shift, and only then we would try to build a short position. Should we wait for the price reaction at the channel high range? Yes, we should wait for that. So even if price rejects at 67 and higher low, we are coming to an apex. especially for USDT dominance, looks like it wants to retrace back at its ascending channel support at 5.15. In terms of USDT dominance, it's extremely simple. If you look at the daily time frame chart, let's take a look at a few dynamic lines as well. The USDT dominance chart, it's still hanging very much somewhere in the middle, right? It has still not found any ground. It has still not found any support. So I would once again, try to warn you against taking any short position, because once again on the USDT dominance chart, we are still sitting somewhere in the middle of this, right? So, one idea could be that as soon as price hits back this support area at 5.33% support level, you can clearly see that we have a few dynamic lines sitting somewhere around here. Let me just take a look at all of these. This is an MTF 200 EMA. Price has already lost MTF 200 EMA. This was not actually a very good signs for bears, because on the USDT dominance chart, we should have bounced off this level, but we seem to simply just be losing this level. And you can clearly see that as soon as we lost this level, price is simply just having strong rejections at MTF 200 EMA. Now, if you would look at a few other dynamic lines, the only moment of respite is going to be this yearly VWAP on the daily time frame chart. So, and this horizontal support. So if price on the Bitcoin chart has to reject at some point, the USDT dominance chart, it needs to bounce off this yearly VWAP on the daily time frame chart, and it needs to bounce off this daily time frame horizontal support, right? That's the only place where you can actually try to build a short position on the Bitcoin chart. So I would still recommend that you wait for price to come back down to this support area on the USDT dominance chart, give a strong reaction at this support, and based on the 5-minute time frame chart, based on the 5-minute structure shift, you can try to build a short position on the Bitcoin chart, okay? And if that does not happen, simply just try to avoid it. And remember that on the USDT dominance chart, the invalidation point, once again, it's sitting extremely close. You have major swing low sitting somewhere around here, and then you have major swing high sitting somewhere around here, which means that if price breaks and closes below this low area right here, at that time, price on the Bitcoin chart, it would break above $65,000 region, and this chart, it would turn absolutely bearish, and this chart, the Bitcoin chart, it would turn absolutely bullish. So you can clearly see that a move towards 67,000, even 72,000, it may still be a very much anticipated thing. I have a short position in BTC with an average entry of 63,250 and a stop loss of 65,250. Should I move my stop loss and add more DC above 65,000? What is your opinion on this? I think that, since there are a significant, just like I mentioned earlier as well, since there are a significant number of buy stops placed above 66, above these two highs, above $65,200 region. So there is every possibility. You see, we just gave an example of this. So a lot many people who took their short position somewhere around 63,000, 62,000, 61,000, even during FOMC, all of them were placing the stop losses above $65,000 region. So there is every possibility that price would eventually go back up and take out all of these stop losses. So $65,200 region in terms of stop loss, it's absolutely not a good idea. What you can actually do is try to change that stop loss to a manual stop loss, which means that if price starts closing a 4-hour candle above 65,200, you can simply just cut your position manually. How much do you risk per trade? 0.5%, 0.5 to 1%. Usually when it's a risky trade, I'm only risking 0.5%. Was it the new season for alt? In terms of altcoins, you can either look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, which is actually not giving a very clear picture. But one thing that you can do is that you can look at the total 3 chart, which is a crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? So you can look at this chart right here, and you can clearly see that, you had the first rejection, second rejection, third rejection, fourth rejection, fifth rejection. And we know that whenever we have these kind of trend lines, and price at this point in time, price seems to be, breaking above this trend line. But remember this thing, and as soon as this happens, you're going to see a very crazy move in the altcoins. But remember this thing that it's going to be a very impulsive move towards the upside if it happens. And the reason for this is because whenever these trendline breakouts happen, all those people who are building their short positions, they would be placing the stops above these highs. One second. Above these highs. This is the same example that I gave you earlier in terms of this trend line right here. Okay. So all those people who take their short positions, they place their stops above these highs, above this high, above this high, above this high. So price usually whenever it breaks above these kind of trend lines, it's a very impulsive break. Obviously, total 3, it's not a chart that you can actually trade, but the same rules of technical analysis would be can be easily applied on this chart as well. It's going to be a very impulsive break towards the upside. I anticipate that, and as soon as that happens, it's going to be a crazy few weeks for the altcoins. So yeah, that's why I'm trying my best to build long positions on altcoins. And by long position altcoins, if you have not taken this long position, you can actually do so. Just like an hour ago, I dropped this long position on Pirate USDT. This is the first entry. The first entry, you can actually take the first entry at the market price. The second entry, it's at this level around here at 0.1748. This is your second entry, and your stop loss is going to be a 4-hour candle close below 0.1594. You can actually take this long position. It looks like a very good one. We missed a few long positions. Like for example, we missed one on I had a couple of long positions, like I had one on Avail. We actually closed it by only it gave us a multiple 7%, 8% moves, but we closed it as soon as we got as soon as the weekly candle was about to open, the week was about to open. So, I just had to de-risk some positions, but you can clearly see that it was a very good position, right? Price ultimately gave us a 22% move, but we only settled for 1%, 2%. Same was the case with Zeta. Zeta, gave us a 10% move, but the original anticipation turned out to be true. It eventually gave us a 22%, 23% move. But these were the two positions that I was confident about. One was this on Baby Dogecoin. Okay. This was actually a very good long position. And the second one was on this coin right here. I absolutely missed this position. I'm actually too gutted on this one. It was a perfect one. Yeah, 31% move. So I would once again recommend that, there are quite a few coins that I'm looking at. All of these ones specifically. There is a short position in Sundog that I'm looking at. There is a long position, this one that I'm looking at. TIA also I'm looking at taking a long position somewhere around here. But it all depends on, how deep we get a pullback. It all depends on if Bitcoin pulls back slightly down to maybe $62,000, $61,000 region. All of these altcoins, they would have a significant pullback, and we can start building some long positions. The reason for this is entirely because on the total 3 chart, you can clearly see that this trend line seems to be price seems to be breaking above this trend line, which means that we have every possibility that we could see a huge move in the rest of these altcoins. USDT dominance chart is an inverted chart of all crypto, not only BTC, right? No, that's not really true. The USDT dominance chart, it's simply just an inverted chart. It's not exactly an inverted chart, but that's a chart which is inversely or negatively correlated with mainly the Bitcoin chart. Okay, it's not true for the rest of the altcoins. Okay guys, that's it for today. Once again, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please make sure to do so. I would be probably doing another live stream on Thursday or on Friday. I just had to do this one on short notice. But yeah, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please make sure to do so. If you have not liked the live stream, once again, please make sure to do so. If you're not following me over Twitter, Sherlock Whale, it's my Twitter handle. You can follow me over Twitter, and you can click the link in the description of this live stream, or you could simply just click the link in this pinned tweet, and you can join the Discord server, and you can be a part of this 1K to 5K challenge as well. Okay. Thank you so much once again for joining in. Take care and have a great week ahead. Thank you.